Hello everyone out there in YouTube land. I am the Scent Maven. Welcome back to my channel, Shopping and Scents. I hate this thing. Welcome back to my channel, Shopping and Scents. I am here with the Duty Master of the Universe. And we are here for another day of Vlogmas. So, we're going to do as usual and get our fruit and yogurt. And then we're going to go to work. And then we're going to go to the foot doctor so he can see what that lump on my toe is. Well, he's not going to tell me. He's going to send it out to the lab, and then I'll have to worry for a couple of days until he finds out what it is. And then if it's benign, hopefully benign, then I'll probably have to come back and have it cut off because I don't want it there on my toe. It looks disgusting. So, yeah. I mean, if it's going to be a whole surgical, dangerous procedure to remove it, which I don't think it is because it looks like an overgrown cuticle, then I'll leave it alone. But if it's simple to remove it, I'd rather just have it gone because I just don't like it being there. Right, Duty Master, we don't need overgrown cuticle. Duty Master, have you mastered the duty today? Have you mastered your coolie? Do you want to do pug power? That wasn't even a full pug power. He's like, you're taking me to grandma. And I wanted to stay in bed. Now I'm sad. In my bra. Right, Malcolm? You would like a chicken. If I had a chicken, would you like a chicken? See? You would like a chicken? He's like, Mom, I know you got no chicken in this car. All right, let's get moving before we're late. Okay, guys. So I know I look like a hot mess. I broke some more nails. I tried gluing them back. I tried gluing one back and it kept falling off. Now I broke another one. So I was packing up some Christmas gifts to give out this week at work. And also the woman at the supermarket who I don't want to say she checks me out every morning. That doesn't sound right. She assists me every morning when I get my fruit and yogurt. I wanted to give her a gift because she's always very nice. And then my mom, she wanted to give gifts to everyone at the eye doctor, plus at people at CVS and all this other stuff. So I packed up some gifts. I have lots of gifts to give out tomorrow. Why am I giving them out tomorrow? Well, I'm going on vacation, a staycation from work. And then, of course, so I have to give out those gifts. And also I found out, I went to the foot doctor today and I found out that I'm going to have surgery. I have to have surgery. So Monday I'm going to go have surgery. So I went back to the foot doctor today for an examination and what I thought was going to be a biopsy for him to check out the growth on my toenail that looks like an overgrown cuticle that we determined through process of elimination and using these drops that it is not a fungus. So please excuse my dog snoring in the background. It's very distracting. So I went there and yeah, so I thought he was going to do a biopsy. I thought that meant that he was going to take like a little scraping of the skin cells and send them to a lab and they were going to tell me what it was. He said no. He's like, we need, he's like, I don't know what it is. He's like, I think it's, he said something with an N. Sounded like he said Nitzel. I don't know what he said it was. But he basically said he thought it was like a benign growth that was not anything to worry about. But he said that there's no way to know definitively what it is unless they send it to a lab. So anyway, he's like, we need to do a biopsy. He's like, if you want, he's like, I think it's nothing, right? I don't think it's anything to worry about, but if you want to know 100%, we have to send we have to do a biopsy. He said, I'm not prepared to do that today. I was like, well, what does that mean? I thought I was coming here to get a biopsy. What do you mean you're not prepared to do that today? He's like, I need my surgical kit. What? And let me tell you, as he was explaining this process to me, it just kept getting worse and worse and worse. So what he's going to do is he has to give me an injection in my toe, which he said will hurt. And once the anesthetic goes into my system, it will burn. So needle will hurt, then followed by burning. Then he is going to cut the growth, and I'm going to have an open wound. And I'm going to have to wear a surgical shoe, which looks like a big slipper, a big sandal with Velcro straps, and it's open in the front. He said because we're going to have to bandage your toe, and you can't have any kind of constricting shoe. So, but you can wear a sock, but you can't have a constricting shoe. So you're going to have to wear this surgical shoe while you heal, and you're going to have to stay home and rest and not do anything and put your foot up and keep it elevated. And there's always the possibility of infection. And I was like, is it going to bleed? And he's like, yes, of course it's going to bleed. There will be some bleeding. And he's like, you can't get your foot wet. So I guess I'm going to have to put a plastic bag over it while I'm in the shower. Can't get the foot wet. Possibility of infection. He's going to take off this piece of my toe. And so I was like, what happens if you take off part of this growth and you send it to the lab and it turns out to be nothing? I don't want it on my toe. It looks terrible. I want it off. And then and what if it turns out to be something and you have to take it off? That means I have to come back and you have to cut it off again? And he was like, no. He's like, normally what I would do with a growth is send like half or 3/4 to the lab. But because it's so small, it's about the size of half a dime. He's like, I'm just going to cut the whole thing off. I'll cut the whole thing off and I'll send it to the lab. So if it turns out to be nothing, you won't have to come back. Well, I have to come back to see if it's healed, but you won't have to have it removed again. Well, kind of. Okay, it gets better. So he's like, we'll remove it all in one shot. We'll send it to the lab. If it turns out to be nothing, it's removed, right? But that doesn't mean it won't grow back. So he was going to do the surgery on a Thursday, the Thursday before Christmas. And I was like, no, that's not a good idea because you'll be closed. He's going to be closed on that Friday, and then Christmas is Saturday, and then Sunday he'll be closed. So I said, if something happens, God forbid something happens, you won't be here. I'll have to go to a hospital. So he's like, well, do you want to do it on Monday? Because then I'll be here Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. If anything happens, God forbid, you can come back. I'll be here. So I was like, we should do that. He said, or you can wait until after Christmas. And I was like, no, because Tuesday I have to go to the dentist. So I don't want to be completely incapacitated. So I was like, I want to get this over with. And then he said to me, or your other option is to do nothing. You could just leave it alone and do nothing. But the problem with that is I'm going to have to walk around with this ugly thing on my toe and not know 100% what it is. And what if it gets bigger? And what if it, God forbid, turns out to be something? I just don't want it there. Okay? So I am going to go and have this surgery done. I am not looking forward to this. I have had this type of thing happen before, kind of. So one time, a long time ago, this is a bad example. I ripped off, see there's my real nail under there. I ripped off my fake nail with my real nail and it was hanging. I went to grab something and my nail ripped off. It was very painful. It felt like my hand had been hit with a hammer and it was dangling. It was dangling, but not enough that you could pull it off. I get nervous. I just thinking about it. So I had to go to the hospital, right? And at this is when I was afraid of needles. I had to go to the hospital and they had to give me an injection on either side of my finger. And I watched my finger literally swell up like a sausage. They gave me a rag or a towel to bite down on because I was screaming. and I was disturbing the other people in the emergency room. So they told me to bite down on a towel while they did this, and they injected my finger on either side, and then they cut off my nail. I said, well, why can't you just leave it and it'll fall off eventually? And they're like, no, because if you even touch something, if you hit something with your finger, the nail could get caught and it'll rip off and you'll be in a lot more pain. It is better if we just surgically, if we would just remove it. And that's what they did. So I really wish this doctor wasn't so blunt, honest. Maybe, you know, usually when a doctor gives you a needle or is going to give you a needle that's going to hurt, they don't say it's going to hurt. They don't say, yeah, it's going to hurt because it's a needle and it's going to burn. They usually give you that doctor answer, which is like, you may experience some discomfort. So at least that way, if I go there and he gives me the needle, by the time I figure out that it's going to hurt and it's going to burn, it's already done. But now I have to think about, I'm going to get this painful burning needle. And I'm going to have this thing cut off my toe and be incapacitated. I just pray to God that it turns out to be nothing. When the lab biopsies it and looks at it, there turns out to be nothing. That I don't get an infection and that it doesn't grow back. So there's that. And while I was there, he checked my toes because remember, I had an infection. I had 2 ingrown toenails. And the one on my left foot had gotten infected. And I had been putting the antibiotic cream on it twice a day. And the infection went away. And the nail is fine. Now, on the other foot, there was no infection on the right side. But I told him when I press down on my nail, like this, when I press down on it, I feel pain. Only when I press down on it, so that it feels like that it's still ingrown, but it doesn't look ingrown, but it kind of feels like it is because when I touch the top of my toenail, I feel pain. So what did he do? He took this scraping tool. It's one of those, the ones that if you go get a pedicure, they get the dead skin cells that build up under your toenail. So he scraped out, he's like, you have some dead skin cells. So he scraped all the skin cells out from under my toenail. And then he took that pliers thing, right? That toe plier. He's like, he laughed when I called it a toe plier. He's like, that's not what it's called. It's not a toe plier. I was like, it looked like a toe plier to me. So he snipped my nail and just pulled out more ingrown nail. And it hurt. So I'm going to go to him on Monday and he's going to cut off my toe. And, you know, my mom said to me, you should get a second opinion. And I was like, I did get a second opinion because when I was at the dermatologist originally, back when I thought it was a fungus, and I was going there to get my psoriasis checked and other stuff, I asked the dermatologist to look at my toe, and she looked at it with a magnifying glass, and she's like, I have no idea what that is. You need to have it biopsied. She's like, I don't know what it is. She said, if the foot doctor says it's a fungus, then it's a fungus. But by looking at it, I can't tell you what it is. And this doctor said the same exact thing. He tried to think positively that it was just a fungus and that it was going to shrink up and go away with these drops. And it didn't. And now I'm going to cut it off. And the receptionist, who I think is actually his mom. I don't know why I get that feeling, but I get that feeling. She's an older woman. She's very sweet. And she said to me, oh, don't worry. Don't worry. She's like, you go home after you have the surgery. You go home and rest. She said, I said to her, but am I going to be able to walk? Am I going to be bleeding? What's going to happen to me? She goes, no, you go home and you rest. You put your foot up. You watch some TV, you read a book, you take it easy, you'll be fine. So she was comforting to me. So I told my mom, I said, this weekend, and starting tomorrow, starting Friday, starts the big fiesta. I said, we need to get everything done. The gifts that need to be given have to be given. You got to go get your food, your groceries, throw out your garbage, bring in your laundry, do whatever the hell you have to do. Get it all done this weekend, because you are not going to drive me nuts while I need to be home with my foot elevated after surgery. So here's your weekend to drive me crazy. I still have to go there and put drops in her eyes. So I will still have to get up in the morning and get food. I'll still have to go get breakfast and stuff. I'm going to go there, put the drops in her eyes. She's got this one more week to go. And then come home and rest and elevate my foot. Now, how long is the healing process? I don't know. I guess everybody's different. I think that's what he said to me. How much will it hurt? How much will it bleed? All this other stuff. He varies from person to person. He said in order to prevent infection, he will prescribe an antibiotic for me to take, an oral antibiotic. So hopefully that will avoid any type of infection. I hope that it's a simple procedure because, like I said, it's a small growth. But the way he described cutting this thing off, you know, and it being an open wound and wearing this special shoe and all this other stuff, I just kind of wish he would have lied to me a little bit. You know, I kind of wish he would have been a little bit more comforting. Not that he's a mean guy. He seems like the nicest guy, but he just, I think he's just too honest. Oh, did I just spit? He's too honest. He's too honest. I wanted somebody that was just going to be like, you know, this is a simple procedure. You know, you'll see it'll be over before you know it. Everything will be fine. He did tell me the risk of infection is very, very slim, but I am diabetic, so I have to worry about, you know, it takes longer for diabetics to heal. We do have a tendency to bleed more and it, you know, all this kind of stuff. But my sugar has been pretty good since I've been on this healthier lifestyle. I won't be able to exercise. I won't be able to do steps and stuff like that. So, yeah. So that's all I have to tell you. Oh, I was watching one of my favorite Christmas movies while I was packing up Christmas gifts, and that is A Christmas Carol. The only version of A Christmas Carol that you need to watch, it's the one starring George C. Scott, I believe. It came out in 1984, which is like the best year. George C. Scott is an amazing actor. This is the amazing version of A Christmas Carol. The only one I will ever watch. The other one with Alistair somebody, the one like from the 30s or 40s, that one is, the one with Patrick Stewart from Star Trek was just about the worst version of A Christmas Carol I have ever seen in my whole life. It's unwatchable. So while I'm relaxing, I'm going to be watching Die Hard and all the Christmas movies. I'm going to have my foot up in the air and I'm just going to be chilling. So pray for me, guys. Pray for me. Send me good wishes. Send me good thoughts. And I'll keep you posted. Yeah. So remember to comment, rate, subscribe. Follow me on Instagram at Shopping and Sense. I will see you all tomorrow for another edition of Vlogmas. I'm looking at all the gifts here. Another edition of Vlogmas. But until then, goodbye everyone out there in YouTube land.